After my center has dried overnight for 24 hours, I'm ready to add my petal. I've rolled out my gum paste and have cut it with a leaf-shaped cutter. This is a way in which I can multi-purpose some of my tools. This is normally used for a leaf shape if I use it right side up, but if I turn it upside down, I can use it as a calla lily cutter. So there's really no reason to buy a separate cutter for this flower. Once I've punched out my shape, I want to make sure to widen it because I will be wrapping it around my center piece. So I'll take my fondant pin and make it so that it's a little bit wider. I want it at least 2, maybe even 2.5 inches wide. And I can tell from my mat how wide the piece is because each box on my mat is about 1 inch in length. In order to make the edges of my petals nice and super thin, I want to pinch around the edges. I'm going to load my fingers up with a little bit of powdered sugar so that they don't stick to my gum paste. I use this snapping motion. As if I'm snapping, I take my first finger and my thumb and pinch and roll the edges to make sure that they're really thin. Then I can apply some texture using a veiner. My veiner was actually made from a calla lily. We took a petal and pressed it into some food grade silicone. You can make your own, or you can just buy a calla lily veiner. I put it into my veiner, and in between, I sandwich it in between the 2 pieces. This way I can get veins on both sides of my petals. And all I'm doing is just pressing lightly to make sure that it picks up some of the pattern. To attach it around my center, I put my center right in the center of the petal, and taking a little bit of edible glue, brush a tiny bit on either side of the wire. Then I'm going to fold it over, just fold it over, wrapping around the center, fold one side and then overlap the other side. I'm going to work with my flower upside down. This will be easier to be able to hold it. Using a little bit of powdered sugar, I can pinch off any of the extra gum paste that I don't need and adhere it just a little bit lower than the base of the center. So when I turn it upside down, I can also start to open up the flower. I can either create a closed up calla lily, or like I'm doing, I'm just folding over the top edge just to open it up a teeny tiny little bit. I can also continue to pinch the edges if they need to be thinner. Now to dry this flower, I'm going to dry it in an egg carton. I can put it into one of the recesses of my egg carton, and then I'll use some fiber fill just to prop up the flower so it's not squished up against any of the sides. I don't want the flower to be flat. I want it to stay nice and round. So I'm just using the flower fill to come in and push all the way around so it stays up perfectly straight. I'll leave it there to dry overnight for 24 hours before I come back and paint it.